All right, we're live.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! So,
welcome.
Yay, welcome. And do you want to try the chat?
Yeah, let's go for it.
No?
Still didn't work for me. Oh, someone's in there. Hello, Don. Testing the comments.
Well, Don is testing because he's in our group. So
yeah.
But it is coming up under the comments section.
But it came up under comments.
Yes, so is mine.
Well, Rhiannon, maybe when we get to the Q&A, depending on how things go, if it starts to fill up in both sections, because I think that we're going to have to give people the option, then maybe you could manage the private chat and I could manage the comments, something like that, just so we're not missing anyone.
Yeah, I think it's only people who are in our group that can do the private chat. Yeah, but for the comments, like I'll make sure that I'm checking YouTube as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Susie,
it'll.
Okay. Yes.
Do the comments that show up on YouTube Live also show up on StreamYard?
Yes.
Okay.
But Michael says he can't get into comments. I'm so sorry, you guys. I didn't have this issue last time, and I don't know what I did differently, but Let me bring Don back on.
Don says he's in the YouTube.
Yeah, so I went to the comments. I went into the YouTube, just signed into YouTube, and then I could comment, do the comments. So it just prompts you to do that in the comments.
Right.
People are disappearing, and now they're back. I think we're live.
We are live. I put us live. Hi, everybody. We're just trying to get a little housekeeping done. We're like across the world from each other. So we're just trying to make sure that we're getting everybody on that wants to be on or wants to listen. And we're just hoping that I haven't majorly failed here. But Don, can you look at YouTube and just see
I'm not on YouTube. It doesn't take you to YouTube. You just click on YouTube and it just says, okay, you can chat now. That's it. It's not that you're viewing on YouTube. That's just to do the chat.
Oh, I can view on YouTube.
Yeah. And Michael says, let's see, you can't hear me, but it looks like anyone can use private chat.
So we have two people watching. We have two people watching on YouTube.
Hello, two people. We'll wait for a few more to come aboard.
4 people now. So let's give it some time. I think everyone needs to go to YouTube. If you can hear us and you're on StreamYard, don't go to StreamYard.
So there's a few people trying to get in through StreamYard and it's saying that the studio is full.
The meeting is full. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube.
And
can we?
And there's Monica Eastway saying she's going to YouTube. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're here telling everybody to go to YouTube, right?
So maybe we should put Michael's suggesting we put the link in the YouTube link in the private chat so people will easily be able to click on that and go. Oh, there it is. Well done, Susie and Rhiannon. feel like I should be singing or something, entertaining the audience. But I would not do
waiting
that.
music.
I will not do that. I promise everyone.
I'm sure this is, entertainment enough, right?
Yeah, well,
Us
absolutely.
figuring it out. Yeah. The tech.
This could be a new show.
There we go. Oh, look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're in this room and you hear us, if you're in, then you can stay. If you're not and they can't get in, then they just need to go to YouTube. And let's just give it a couple more minutes because it's only 3 minutes after.
In the private chat, in fact, there's Lizette Kluta saying nobody can get into this room. Yes, so go to the YouTube link.
Oh, this is the bummer. Don't you get what? Oh, I guess you do have to stream to a
platform.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can't.
Okay.
Just,
I don't think we did that last time. It was
yeah, we did.
Last time.
We did.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did Facebook and YouTube. Yeah. Thank you, Lizette Kluta, for sharing the link.
Thank you so much.
Oh, she says she's backstage, but that's it. We can't bring her on, but she can watch from there.
She can watch from there, yes. And Barbara's backstage, and Sarah's backstage, and that's it. And Aaron.
I hope there's drinks for everyone.
Next time we should do that. That's a great suggestion.
We'll have one of these once a week.
What's your midday drink? I just had a coffee.
A midday drink. Oh,
coffee.
Well,
iced vanilla latte.
Oh, nice. Rhiannon, it's super morning for you, early next day, right?
Yes, 8 a.m. I've got my caramel coffee / latte here, so it's keeping me awake.
She's fancy, very fancy.
Yes.
So let's see. Okay, so I think my job is done here until we come back on. Is that correct, Suze?
Yes,
I think. Would be curious just to know if we do have our audience finding us on YouTube and if we can sort of get started, or if we should just wait a little longer.
Let me just
How do I find that out?
Yeah, let's go. One of us can go over there. Yeah.
So there's 15 people watching on YouTube at the moment.
Okay. So why don't we go give it to like 1:10, 3 more minutes, and then go?
Okay, sure.
All right.
We're going to go in 2 minutes. 1 minute.
2 minutes.
No.
No, 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. Thank you, everybody. If you're listening, so sorry. It's we're getting used to this technology, but we're trying to make it the easiest to go from one continent to the other, and I think we're doing pretty good.
Okay, Lisa's in. Woohoo!
Okay.
Perfect. I just don't like the silence. So what are we going to talk about for the next 2 minutes?
Well, I offered to sing, but no one wanted that. So.
Well, if you were going to sing, what song would you sing?
Oh, I wouldn't even, I don't know. It would have to maybe do my karaoke. We can do some Neil Diamond or Elvis, something like that, but that's not going to happen.
We can do a little Bee Gees. We can do a little harmonic Bee Gees.
Sweet Caroline. No?
Oh yeah, he does a good Sweet
Caroline.
Oh
yes, that's the one. Yeah.
That's the one. That's the one. It's like, yeah.
Absolutely.
Go, Dawn.
That is
Stop
the go-to. Because, well, no. I would need more than an iced vanilla latte to do that. So.
Spiked vanilla latte.
There you go.
Okay, I've got 1 minute and counting, everybody.
All right.
Woohoo!
You can feel the excitement building.
Okay, yeah.
And who knows? We could always do another one at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That would be great. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so there's comments coming in on both private chat and comments. We're getting comments, so just so we're all aware. They're coming in both.
Right. We can't speak, Maury, for some reason, but I see your message. And but you can ask a message and enjoy the silence. Funny, Maury.
No kidding. The most talkative is not here on stage with
us
today.
I know. I got a lot of responsibility now. Damn it.
All right, it's 1:10.
Shall we?
Let's do it. But I hope everybody, maybe we can, when someone goes off or someone can slide over to one of your LinkedIn things and just say that, meet us on YouTube instead of StreamYard. All right. Okay. I'm going to leave and you're going to leave, Dawn, because we're going to be fancy like that. Being fancy.
Woohoo. Hi, everyone. Hi, Rhiannon.
Hello, and
hello.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you all for joining us from wherever you are in the world. Before I hand over to Josephine, who will be introducing you to Rick and Don and Susie, I'm just going to give an acknowledgement of country from where I am today. So I'd like to acknowledge the Ngunnawal people, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which I am on today, and pay respect to the elders of the Ngunnawal Nation, both past and present. I would also like to extend acknowledgement of country to all First Nations people around the world, and acknowledgement to all people living with dementia and those that provide support and care. So a little bit of housekeeping before we start. Obviously, we had a little bit of a rocky start today, but there will be a Q&A session after the screening. So if you do have any questions, if you are backstage on StreamYard, I would like to ask you to put any questions in the private chat. And if you are streamed in from YouTube, if you can put your questions in the chat function there. And I guess with that, I'll pass over to you, Josephine.
Perfect. Thanks, Rhiannon. I'm also curious if there's people watching that know other people that we're going to attend and might be experiencing some difficulty finding the link, to share with them the YouTube link. That is the best place for you to find the screening. And they still have a few minutes because I'll introduce our guests, and then we will get started on the screening. So share that link. And if we could just plug it up here one more time, just for people to find the YouTube link. And if you know a co-founder, every co-founder has the link too. So there we go, from Open the Doors. Okay, perfect. So I have the extreme pleasure, I'm so excited to be able to introduce the team behind No Country for Old People. Susie Singer-Carter is a writer, director, producer of an award-winning filmmaker, And she's best known so far, anyways, because I know more is coming, for her 2018 Oscar-qualified award-winning short film called My Mom and the Girl, which she calls a joyous look at Alzheimer's, which is so in line with where we are headed. And it stars Valerie Harper in her final performance portraying Susie's mother. Susie is also known for writing and producing Bratz, the movie, for Lionsgate, and co-producing Soul Surfer for Sony. Then we are going to also meet Dawn Priest, who is a producer and editor. Most recently co-produced and edited the epic documentary Jack L. Warner, The Last Mogul, for Turner Classic Movies and streaming platforms. Dawn and Susie both produce and co-host the podcast Love Conquers ALZ, Alzheimer's, which was awarded Best Podcast in 2020 by New Media Film Festival and #1 dementia podcast this year by Good Pods. Perfect. And there's Rick. Rick is also Rick Mountcastle, producer, a retired award-winning United States federal and state prosecutor. His work prosecuting OxyContin producer Purdue Pharma was depicted in the Emmy-nominated Hulu miniseries Dope Sick, in which he was portrayed by Peter Sarsgaard. Rick also spent a significant part of his career prosecuting fraud, abuse, neglect, and other crimes in the nursing home industry. And I also wanted to share that very, very recently, like today or yesterday, if you're in Australia, the movie No Country for Old People was awarded the Gold Award from Anthem Awards for health awareness for TV and film. So yes, congratulations. And I will let you take it over. We're so looking forward to seeing the film.
Oh, I just got rid of Rick by accident. Wait. How did that happen? Okay. So, hello, everybody. We just wanted to thank you all for having us. Thank you to hashtag OTG, our colleagues across the world in another continent, opened the doors and for having us and hosting this for us and being such great support for our documentary, No Country for Old People. And we've already, I'll just give you a quick one-liner is that this is a documentary based on my experience with my mom during 2022. And it was the last 6 months of her life when I discovered that we have a systemic, problem with our long-term care system. And I saw things I couldn't unsee. And I really realized that I needed to, educate the public on what's happening. And that brought me to this documentary that we've been working on for the past 2 years. And I will throw the floor over to Rick Mountcastle, my illustrious co-producer.
Yes, I echo Susie. I want to thank you, Open the Doors, for sponsoring this watch party and for your support of this important film. I'm just going to very briefly say that I'm an advocate. That was my job as a prosecutor for 35 years. And advocacy is needed now more than ever, especially in the United States. The landscape has changed. Traditional advocacy, the things that people in the nursing home reform space in the United States that have been working on things for 4 years, in my view, are going to be wiped out come 2025. And so traditional advocacy has not really worked to change the needle. To me, film, social media is where advocacy needs to go. And we need to educate people, get people to demand reform and to become active. We need to activate the public to make change in the United States. And that is now more than ever an important fact. So I'm going to stop talking so we can see the film.
And I thank everyone for being here today. It means so much to us. I just wanted to give you a little caveat as to what you're going to be seeing today.
Don, before you do, can you also mention about ROAR, our movement ROAR?
Yes, absolutely. This film is not going to, when this film comes out, it's not going to end there. It's this is not a one-off thing. This is now what we need to change things is a movement. and the movement that we're creating is called ROAR. And Susie, can you give the acronym? It's so new. We just came up with this wonderful title, and we have it, and it is an acronym. And Susie,
right? It's respect. So it's respect and outreach, advocacy, and reform for nursing homes.
Yes, and we're looking for what we need is our collective voices in order to make real change. And you'll find out more about the movement in either the Q&A, plus we have it on our website. And just keep that in mind when you're watching, that we need to change this, and we're hoping that's the way we're going to do it. Yes. So what you're going to be seeing today, it's called a sizzle, and it's designed as a graphical representation of our final 3-part, 3-hour docuseries. It does not reflect the full scope of the narrative structure of the actual film. It aims to capture the essence and themes of the documentary, but note that the final film will present a much different pacing, tone, and detail, but hope you'll get a good idea from watching. So without further ado, let us present the sizzle reel for No Country for Old People.
As I watched my mother fade away within the confines of a nursing home, I discovered that behind the facade of care lies a dark reality of neglect and abuse. This is the story of our struggle and countless others trapped in the grip of the nursing home crisis.
The founder of Cleveland-based Life Care Centers of America is now one of the richest people in America.
The average nursing home is making a ton of money.
The way they move their money is just like a criminal enterprise.
They prefer to line their own pockets.
I've said for 40 years it's legal money laundering.
You just gotta follow the money. This is a $1 trillion business.
We're taking our elders, we're putting them in a warehouse and throwing away the key.
Raping is low staff.
Meanwhile, 10 residents have died from dehydration.
You get stripped of your dignity, you're tortured, and you're tortured to death.
169,291 nursing home residents died who normally wouldn't have died.
That's completely inappropriate, and there's terms for that.
What are those terms?
Well, that's murder.
You are literally killing people to make more money.
It's very clear our love is here to stay, not for a year, but ever and a day. The radio and the telephone and the movies that we know may just be passing fancies, and in time may go. Ooh, my dear.
And you have to wait for Rosa, she's coming. Go, Edie.
And she did like, she likes to know what we do. Good girl.
Hi, Mom. It's me, Susie. What happened? What's the matter? What hurts? Is it the wound?
I think so.
You're hurting her. But the pump is in the wound, right? Oh, it's bleeding.
I know.
See, you've got to have... But she's on the tube. Mommy, it's okay. I'm right here. I'm right here. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. The whole... It's like they haven't checked her all day. It's okay, Mommy. It's okay. Sorry, Mama. Sorry, Mama. I know. So sorry.
There's a big problem with understaffing. It's at the root of every nursing home problem.
Staffing ratios for most skilled nursing facilities is absurd.
A nursing home can save as much as $1 million a year by keeping their staffing low. And then they keep the wages low and they make money on that.
You have massive profits going to the top, and at the bottom, you have elder abuse. You have the development of pressure injuries, falls, dehydration, malnutrition, infections that become serious. All of that is going on at the nursing home level due to chronic understaffing.
Staffing is the root of all evil. Low staffing, it just really is.
So I'm a nurse in long-term care, and today I got put on the rehab unit, usually York dementia. One of the family members literally sat there and cried with me for half an hour about how her mom is going to die here, and it made me bawl my eyes out. And she looks at me, she goes, "Do you guys just not care?" I'm like, it's not that. I definitely care. We cannot do everything. It's so messed up. My 12-hour shift, I get 25 minutes per person. The CNAs, they only work 8 hours. They get 8 minutes per person. We need to do better.
Yeah, that's my mom. You might have heard of her. She sings opera when she was 9, and then she had her own radio show when she was 16, like a big shot, in New York City on CBS, right? And then she belted out a song, and he went, "Whoa, what? Who's singing that?" And they all said, "Her, the little one with the big voice." Right? That was you. Everyone loved Norma. Right? Yeah. Everyone. All the men, all the women, but a lot of men too. Am I right? And the autumn weather. She's singing. You singing with me? We just did the whole movie. Good? Goody, 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 good. It's been really hard this whole 4 months, and I am a wreck from this, and trying to be strong for my mom.
No long-term care facility should allow a resident to get bed sores or other injuries because wounds are not being treated. That should be just taken care of routinely. And if it's not, somebody's not doing their job.
And I haven't been able to work, and I just feel unmotivated, and I feel impotent to help my mom.
The issues that were challenges that the organization and the people working in this space were dealing with way back in 1975 are still the same issues that we're dealing with today.
So finally, I was so frustrated and said, are we moving forward for the residents or for the nursing homes? You know, we've spent 6 hours on this subject. Meanwhile, 10 residents have died from dehydration. There's nobody there to give them a drink of water.
if you're specifically doing it to make sure the patient just dies in 10 minutes, that's completely inappropriate, and there's terms for that. Oh, that's murder.
Focus, especially in nursing homes, is really more on hospice. And the reason is because hospice is now a really big business in the United States.
Hospice companies make a lot of money on having hospice clients.
Hospice now is very different. Hospice is big business.
Death is a big business.
What kind of words you got for me? What kind of words you got? Like maybe, I love you? Like maybe, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Oh, sweetie. What in the world? Like, I'm tired. And obviously depressed, and I feel like I've been going through her dying for the past 4 months because everyone's telling me that she's dying, but she doesn't die. But they're trying to make her die faster than she wants to. You're dry? You have a dry throat? I know. That's from not having liquid. I'm gonna get you liquid right now, okay? I'm gonna get you juice.
Think about what it would feel like if you weren't allowed to drink for 2 days, 3 days, a week, 6 months. People need to start thinking about how that would feel, because if you live long enough, you're probably going to end up going through that.
A lot of times it is fear on the side of the clinician. I don't want this person to choke and die. Well, that's what they hired you for, to help them to eat without choking and dying.
Good job, Mommy. Suck on it. Get the juice out. Good girl. Okay, now. Yeah.
And as a result, she's in pain because they're not taking care of her.
These are individuals who are holding a license, and I think as a society, we need to look at that and this accountability. We are not just warehousing individuals. When they accept a resident, they're saying that they have the expertise to appropriately care for those individuals. If they can't, then they shouldn't be accepting them.
We had a gentleman who had no cognitive deficits and he rang us from his room and said, I have not been bathed in a month. A month.
Crazy because I'm there every day and I still am fighting to get people to pay attention. So, and I'm also the enemy there now, and that doesn't feel good. So
Why my mother usually got better care, honestly, is because people would see me coming and they were like, uh-oh. And that's not the relationship I want to have with people, but that is the relationship I needed to have for my mother to get what she needed.
You're wrong, and you don't know what you're talking about, and and then the fear in you, and then they start kind of putting a criminal feeling on you, like if you even think about it, if something happens, then you're not a good carer. You haven't been a good carer. You're the bad other now, and you listen to what we say, and this is the best thing for her, and it was horrifying. It was absolutely horrifying, and she never went home after that. Never.
It's really hard for one person to advocate, let alone I can't imagine the people that have no one to advocate.
Fighting for his dignity, for proper end-of-life care, was a horrible battle from hell.
And I'm calling the nurse's station. There's no one picking up the damn phone.
My mother's death was a brutal death at the nursing home.
The way they move their money is just like a criminal enterprise. This looks just like money laundering.
Raping is low staff. Choking is low staff.
First, you get stripped of your dignity. Second, you're tortured. And third, you're tortured to death.
It's a combination between the ableism and the ageism in this country. These people are at the bottom of the heap. It's where things are. To me, it's the shame of the nation. They're throwaway people. That's all they are, just throwaway people.
When cash is the primary reason for doing something anywhere in the healthcare system, people suffer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
We want to turn now to the crisis facing nearly every nursing home across the country. 87% of providers are facing staffing shortages.
The nation's largest nursing home association is warning of negative impacts for their industry in the Biden administration's Build Back Better plan.
It's nice to say, let's have these mandatory minimum staffing levels, but there are no Medicaid funds or Medicare funds or any other funding in the Build Back Better bill to pay for this.
I struggle to accept the premise that nursing homes are underfunded when their owners are living in homes that are sometimes worth $11 million.
There is the huge ethical issue within this industry is you are literally killing people to make more money.
There are no Medicaid funds or Medicare funds to pay for this.
because moral injury, right? And because of this gap between what we want to do and what are we doing. It's terrifying because you are talking about 1 to 2 physicians dying every day in this country by suicide, and then you have nurses and other healthcare professionals, so and their numbers are not necessarily better.
A shocking video just coming to light. 2 nursing home employees caught on camera tormenting.
What changed the disability movement was Mothers from Hell. What's going to change long-term care is Daughters from Hell. So there you are.
I'm in. That's me.
We're experiencing extraordinary times that require extraordinary commitment to making a difference and being the change. I mean, think about how many movements in human history were shaped by the poets, the artists, people doing documentaries, music, you know, and that's how we can shift and shape and revolutionize our care system. So it does really begin with us.
How do we change a system that is so corrupt, that has been this way for decades? It really is going to be a matter of the community coming together and uniting to combat that influence.
If being honest and having integrity gets you in trouble, keep doing it.
A project like this, I think, would hopefully wake the consciousness that there is no left or right when it comes to taking care of older adults. We all have a duty as a society, community, as humans, to take care of our older adults. And if we lose that sense of consciousness, I don't think we don't have a humanity.
Do we care about the patients, the residents, or do we care about the finances of the healthcare industrial complex? And we have to look in the mirror and ask ourselves as a country, what are we going to do for our older adults, for our most vulnerable, for our loved ones? And I think that's why you're doing this documentary.
Hello,
Here we,
everyone. Here we are.
here
How
we
many
are.
times have you all seen your sizzle reel?
Oh my gosh. There are no, I can't count, and it's still, to me, it gets me every time. So hope it has the same effect on everyone.
Well, I'm not sure I even have words. This is the first time I've seen the full sizzle reel.
Yeah.
So I will, yeah. And I'm not sure if other people are maybe feeling that way. So yeah, I'm just so thankful that you have been audacious and brave enough to say what your heart wanted to say. Yeah, which is a beautiful thing. It's a hard thing. And so anyway, why don't we just get started with just comments or questions that are coming in from the audience. It's mostly just sort of this feeling of just devastation, right? That's coming through, and many people aren't surprised.
Right.
The funny, not funny, but like interestingly enough, watching the sizzle reel reminded me of like 8 years ago, which was like why I was prompted to kind of get a little bit deeper into this space is because of how my great auntie died. Nothing like I can't even compare it to the devastation that you would have gone through, Susie. But I just remember that pain that left in my heart, thinking like, this is just not right. And we absolutely can do better. And I know people have I've been in conversations with people where they tell me, well, we're doing the best that we can. And I'm like, but no, we're not. We're doing the best that we choose. We're saying we can do. Like, that's not good enough. So
you're right. No, you're absolutely right. It's been going on for decades. I know in America, and I know in other countries as well. It's not much better, and it's all driven by greed and money. And there's enough money for people to make in this industry without being greedy and without jeopardizing people's quality of life and their ability to live without pain and suffering. I wanted to address. I did write it in the comments, but I think it was Vicky was mentioning that. Here, let me see if I can put this up. That often people stop eating and drinking at the end of life, and that is true. But for my mom, they stopped giving her water and liquid and food 6 months before she died, and she was able to eat and drink, and more than that, wanted to, was desperate to. And it didn't matter who I talked to, how much I advocated, they would not allow me to give her that, and they wouldn't do it. They said, they just kept insisting that she was going to aspirate and get aspiration pneumonia, but in fact she got pneumonia from the neglect of not being taken care of, her wound not being taken care of, and that continued to keep her in a septic state, but all throughout until the very end, I was giving her in the hospital smoothies, and she was swallowing fine, but they just insisted I could either take her home or abide by their rules. So that was, that's the threats that go on, and you realize that you don't have any power. It's their way or the highway. And at that point, when someone has, really has the acuity and needs to be in a place where they are trained to take care of them, then when someone says take them home, you know that you can't. So you can only make the best of a horrible situation, and that doesn't have to be like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like to me it's really about who's making the decision here, because your mom was still trying to make her own decision and people weren't listening.
Right. And that's a big problem. Yeah, go on.
And the money is making the decision as to what type of care you're getting or not getting. I mean, though the reasons that Susie couldn't get a speech therapist for so long, and they wouldn't, and because the staffing is so low, it's easier for them to just give her a G tube and not feed her because they don't have enough staff. And the ones they have, a part of understaffing is under training too. or
Mhm.
incorrect training. But that's all money decisions that are making that. The money is making those decisions.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you brought that up. There's a few comments. There's been quite a few comments about staffing ratios, not having enough staffing. And so maybe you can share a little bit about what you hope the documentary will bring about in terms of change for staffing. What is it? Like, you've got an idea, right? Obviously.
Oh God, yes, of course we do.
Let's talk about it.
There is, I think this is probably going to be dead in 2025, but there is currently a proposal, part of the Biden, there was a comment by the head of the AHCA, the lobbying group for the nursing industry, about the Biden's Build Back Better plan, calling for minimum staffing. And so there is a minimum staffing standard that has been proposed by CMS, and is being, and even that standard is low. It's inadequate based on all of the studies and the advocacy that's been going on for 50 years about what kind of staffing is needed. But it's something. It's a needle move in the right direction. However, the nursing home industry is, both profit and nonprofits are fighting that with everything they have. They filed lawsuits to prevent it from happening. They've gotten some of the folks in the legislature and the Congress to sponsor a bill that would prohibit CMS from imposing any kind of standards. And I suspect that come January 2025, that proposal will be killed. So even that's, and this is something that the traditional advocacy groups have been working on for 4 years. And I'm going to go out on a limb. Maybe, hopefully I'm wrong, but I expect that it will be killed by the incoming. I just saw something pop up on the news feed that Dr. Oz will be the next head of CMS, which oversees the nursing home industry.
Oh my
God. What we need is really a whole new system, okay? A system that is not based on finances, that is not based on the nursing home industry and how they want to operate their business. What we need is a system that's based on how to best take care of patients, okay? That's really what we need to move forward to. And we need a system that gives caregivers options, because right now in the US, if you have a loved one who needs care that involves maybe a 2-person assist to get from, to be moved, they need special help with feeding, they need some kind of therapy. The only place you can do that is in the nursing home setting. You don't have the option of home care unless you take on all of those burdens yourself, both financial and time-wise. And so for a lot of families, home care is something they would want to do, but it is not financially or physically or logistically an option. So we need also a system that involves more options. So there are a number of, I think I saw Dr. Powers is on the YouTube chat. He's been watching. He is very familiar with nursing type systems that are patient centered. And there are a number of those out there that are exist on a very small basis, but with limited, if any.
Oh, Rick froze a second.
I think Rick froze. Oh, there he's coming back, I think. Hopefully.
Am I back? Okay,
oh,
sorry.
Yeah, yes, you're back.
There are many models out there. The Eden Project, the Oak was the Oak Project.
Oak Tree, yeah.
Oak Tree Project, where the care is patient centered. It's not, doesn't involve being in a hospital-like setting, which is the current system. So yes, staffing would be, to me, having minimum staffing would be a way to alleviate suffering in the near term fairly quickly, because there's a lot of suffering going on in nursing homes. It's suffering that involves the loss of dignity. It's suffering that involves the lack of any kind of treatment, that involves neglect and abuse, what I call systemic neglect and abuse. That's neglect and abuse that is considered to be okay and part of the standard of care. And that involves suffering. There's suffering of the type that's depicted in this film. And so in the short term, my view is how do we get to reduce that suffering as quickly as possible? And yes, I believe that minimum staffing standards would do that, although that is not the long-term solution.
And then on top of it, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, but like in California, we've had minimum staffing requirements. They just weren't enforced.
Yes.
So, we have to get, even if the regulations are passed, they must be enforced, and there must be oversight, a proper oversight, and, not performative. And that is also a problem that goes on here. There's a lot of, performative actions going on that make everybody feel like things are happening, and yet in reality they're not. And that's driven by the very strong lobby keeping everything status quo. So the first time I asked Rick when he was on our podcast, how can we fix this? I was in the throes of my mother's crisis and my crisis. What can I do? What can we do? And he was stumped. I mean, I remember him, this is not a quality I see in Rick ever, to be stumped. But he just said, it really is going to come down to the community. That's all. And everybody that I've talked to since then that has been in this industry and has been advocating says the same thing. It really comes down to the community and people as a whole, as a collective, to make the changes, as we put in the sizzle and also in the documentary. It's really, that is where our power is to make a change publicly. We can't depend on the system because they're happy with it. Obviously, it's been going on for 50 years. So it really is going to take that. And there is so much ageism that's allowing it to happen. People are not looking at it. And also the ableism of dementia and Alzheimer's and any other disease that cognitively, diminishes you. And it's very easy to be taken advantage of that way. And it's very easy to dismiss and not value those people. So I know there's so many people that are watching this right now that are shaking their head, yes, like Al Power. I know you're going, yes, 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 because you taught us so much. You taught me so much. But, about everything that I was thinking, I was correct. My mom was communicating. No one was listening to us. And that's torture. And it's not acceptable. So we really need to change.
Yeah, I love how you bring up, like, what do we do? What do I do? Right? Because I think most people that are watching are watching because they care and they want to do something. Al says, just some comments that were coming in, like he goes to a lot of innovation conference types, but they're exciting and energizing, but it's not enough. And then right. Pam was just saying, like, what's the level of staffing knowledge and training that's acceptable? Like, are we teaching staff to actually learn to listen? Like, they have 2 ears and 1 mouth, but it seems like they use them for the opposite function. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's what we're trying to do is take the great ideas and that people go to meetings and they talk about, they kind of sing to the choir, so to speak. We're trying to give make a vehicle, a new way of actually advocating for those ideas. You've got to get the word out to the public. And how is the public today getting their information and consuming their news? Well, it's film and streaming and, stuff that they can play on their phones. And so I think traditional advocacy is a little bit behind the times. It needs to catch up. So the purpose of this docuseries, this film, is to educate the public, to tell them why they need to care, okay, to show them what is going on and to make them care, and to also at the same time use it as a launching point for a movement, for people that want to rattle cages and people that want to make stuff happen, to make change rather than talking about it. That the film can at least bring people together and get people moving in the right direction. And we're not under any illusion really getting this film distributed is not going to change anything of itself. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. This is a long haul battle, okay? But we need to do more, I think, than what we've been doing for the last 50 years. And so this is what we're trying to accomplish with this film. We're so close to finishing it. I'm going to put a plug in right here, okay? We're down to needing the final $19,000 to complete sound mixing, music licensing, publicity, and to mobilize the Aurora movement. This film is completely funded by, I'd say now, more than 160 individual supporters who have made contributions through our sponsor, the National Consumer Voice for Quality Long-Term Care. So there's no corporate money involved. There's no blood money involved like so many other of these types of projects. And so if you can donate, I think there's going to be a link somewhere. We would welcome your donation, but also, and as importantly, even if you can't donate, or even if you do, we want you to help us by becoming part of the movement. And so I'm going to leave it to Susie to tell you where you can do all that.
Right. I'm just putting the link up to I just put it into the chat for No Country for Old People, and the exact tab, which is the People of a Profit movement, which we've now changed over to the ROAR movement, which I put in the chat as well, which is respect and outreach, advocacy, and reform for nursing homes. And you can go to our website. I put it's nocountryforoldpeople.com, and then there's a tab for the movement, and you can give us, insert your email address and get on the mailing list so we can reach out to you as we start to coalesce. And we can use all the help we can gather. As nationally, we want a presence nationally, because that's what we need. And in terms of
maybe internationally.
Yeah, and internationally.
I think, this is a global issue also. So,
absolutely. I mean, if you set an example, that's the thing, it's setting an example. It's like there's the Yaya, there's a group called, I think it's Yaya organization in Canada. It's a young group of carers who are starting a movement, in terms of the kind of references for long-term care. And, they want to, they're in Canada, but they want to set a precedence. They want to set, a model. And that's what I think we need to do. If it can be done one place, it can be done every place. I'm also going to put in the link to donate at the National Consumer Voice, who is our fiscal sponsor. So I'll put that in there now.
And for those in the U.S., that is, completely 100% tax deductible. I don't think it is for out of the country. We don't control those taxes, but it is tax deductible, and any amount is helpful. Yes. Any amount.
So that is what we can do. Also, people are asking, where could they go to see the sizzle reel again if they wanted to do so, or to share it with people they know?
It'll be, it's going to live on that YouTube site where you're at now. It'll be there, and you can go back there and watch it again, and you can share that with other people.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. Thanks to all of you for sharing, and all of you for coming. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's so great. And just a farewell from Open the Doors. We are just reminding everybody our next Keys to the Doors meeting is on a topic of sexuality. It's an open talk about it, called Yes Means Yes, which is on Wednesday, November the 27th at 9:30 a.m. AEST. So if you're in Canada or the US or in Europe, it's going to be the day before, which would be Tuesday, my Tuesday, because I'm in Canada. So it's another opportunity to come and contribute to a meaningful conversation, which is around different topics, right, that are really central to making change. Like every one of the times that we come and gather and talk about one of these topics is a time where we actually get to create more of that ripple and that change that we're looking at all of us to see. So join us online for thought-provoking discussions for sure, and an exploration of innovative thoughts, ideas, successes, and lessons learned. And our panel member for that session will be Dr. Natalie and Gwenda Darling, and a couple of other panelists that are to be determined. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you there.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. And done.